Saturday school episode. This thing, don't pay attention to my desk. I have nowhere else to put my whiteboard. This is such a weird ass angle to be at, but the way that the ceiling is made in this room, because it's a loft room, I have to get low, get low, get low, get low. So just pretend that that's not there. You don't see it, okay? It's a rooster illusion. So anyway, the Saturday school episode that was supposed to happen last Saturday that I postponed because last Saturday was a day for me. Just wasn't doing it. Okay, so this Saturday school's lesson is going to be about, where are you? What a coma is and astral travel. It's gonna get crazy, okay? So I wrote the channel message I got for this a week ago. It's all right here. So I'm gonna do my best with my shoddy artwork and my notes to explain to you the channel message that was given to me last week about what comas actually are. Let's get into it. Okay. So, coma and astral travel. Okay, so I'm just gonna read what the channel message was and just go with the flow. Okay, so bear with me, y'all. Okay, so when you go into a coma, what happens when someone goes into a coma? Okay, so a lot of people believe that when you go into a coma, you're just asleep. You don't know what's going on. You don't remember anything. You don't. And the medical field has people convinced that you can never wake up from a coma if it's a certain amount of time. So, okay, yeah, you go into a coma and they're like, we have no idea how long this person's going to be into a coma. It goes past 6 months and the hospital's like, hey, maybe you want to start thinking about pulling that plug. Maybe you want to go ahead and let this go. I don't think they're ever going to wake up. Don't listen to the hospital, okay? As long as the person in the coma is being fed and is on some kind of life supported, waking up is always possible. The only time you cannot wake up is when you are brain dead. And when you're brain dead, that's because the silver cord that connects your soul to your body, I'll get to that in a second, has been completely severed. Therefore, your spirit can't come back to your body. You are officially gone, okay? Once the brain activity goes, because the pineal gland, the seat of the soul, where your soul lives in your pineal gland, once that connection from your brain and your pineal gland is cut from the rest of your body, you are out of here. Dunzo. Ain't no coming back because the cord is severed, okay? Done. So, when someone is in a coma, a medical coma, medically induced coma, accident induced coma, whatever, as long as they are being fed intravenously and are on some kind of support, life support, etc., whatever, I count the fucking being fed as support as well. There is always a possibility of them waking up, and I'll explain why that is. Let's get into it even further. So, the reason why I say it is always possible for them to wake up from their coma as long as they are being fed and supported and are not brain dead is because, let me tell you what the channel message was from Spirit. Now, this part I already knew, but it gets kind of deep. Okay, so when we sleep, we all, every single one of us, you, me, the person up the street, the old lady next door, the cat, the dog, we all dream, okay? We might not always remember our dreams, but we all dream, okay? Now, some of us might not even see our dreams in our third eye, but you still dream, okay? When we dream, we are not imagining scenarios and things in our heads. No. When we dream, we are astral traveling. We are astral traveling. We all astral travel, whether we know it or not. We do. That's why sometimes we wake up sleepy as the fuck, because your ass was up all night battling and fighting shit in the astral realm. You had no idea you were battling and fighting. Okay? And when we astral travel, those dreams that we have, see Billy Bob over here dreaming in La La Land, his soul is traveling in the astral realm. That's what a dream is. It's not imagination. You're traveling, your spirit, your soul is traveling to other dimensions, other timelines, other realities, other probabilities, other possibilities. You're not imagining, you're not dreaming. You're not dreaming. You're traveling astrally. Okay? Now, the reason why you can't remember your dreams sometimes is because there are beings and entities and people that are also in the astral, other spirits and shit in the astral, that don't want you to remember your dreams. So they'll wipe your memory. They'll do spells and shit to wipe your memory before you come back to your body in the morning. Okay? Now, this silver cord I was talking about that connects your sleeping body to your spirit, your soul. When this silver cord is cut and severed, that's why I said when someone is brain dead, when you are officially dead, you can't come back to your body because the silver cord has been severed. But when you are dreaming, your spirit leaves your body, travels to the astral realm where you have dreams where you're actually fighting, battling, learning, exploring, communicating, teaching in the astral, in your dreams, okay? When you wake up in the morning, that silver cord guides your soul back to your body every morning. Right back in your body every morning, okay? So when you wake up from your sleep, that's you completing your astral travel. That's you coming back to your body and waking up in the physical realm. You were in the 5D, the astral realm, all night, playing, floating, learning, singing, dancing, fighting in the spiritual nude. And then you came back in the morning to the 3D and awakened physically to go on with your day, whether you remember your dream, your astral travel, or not. Okay? So, let me go ahead and explain. This is going to get really crazy. Really quickly, I'm going to touch on lucid dreams. Okay? So, people that can lucid dream are likely also able to astral project at will. If they cannot astral project at will, they just have the ability to control and participate consciously in their dreams. That's a lucid dream. When you are a lucid dreamer, that's an advantage that you have in spiritual warfare, whether you know it or not. Not a lot of people lucid dream, but you can learn. You know how I know you can learn? Because I never used to lucid dream. Well, for some of my dreams as a child, I was conscious in my dreams, but I was not able to control my dreams. As I got older, closer to my spiritual awakening and starting my spiritual journey, I had my first lucid dream. And I was conscious. I was conscious as a third person watching myself in this lucid dream, but I was able to control me watching me. It was so crazy. And the dream was me fighting Morgan Freeman, who was dressed as a Jedi Sith or some shit. I don't fucking know. A dark Jedi or some shit. He was dressed in the robe and everything. And he and I were lightsaber fighting in an attic full of moving boxes. And the attic had stained glass windows, like a church almost. And we were fighting with lightsabers in this attic. This was my lucid dream. And I was able to control everything that I was doing. I was conscious. I was very aware during this dream. That was my first lucid dream. Now, as I get further into what a coma is, I'll explain why having the ability to lucid dream is a serious advantage, okay? And I'm telling you, you can learn how. Now, silver cord. So when you are in a coma, your soul is connected to your body still, just like Billy Bob over here. His silver cord is connected to his body while he sleeps, okay? He's just normal sleeping, okay? Now, your coma, this is going to get really, I hope I don't get too complicated. I'm going to try to explain this as simply as possible. So now, when someone goes into a coma, either medically induced by an accident, sickness, whatever, when someone goes into a coma, their brain is very active still. They are alive. Their brain is still active. Their soul is in the astral, okay? So when someone is in a coma, their soul, their spirit is in the astral realm, just like when we're asleep. Because a coma is basically like being in a very deep, unpredictable sleep, okay? So when someone is in a coma, their spirit, their soul is in the astral realm, traveling, doing things, hanging out. That's why a lot of times when people that do wake up from comas awaken, 11:11 on the timer, when people that are in comas do awaken, they will tend to say that they had vivid dreams that felt real, crazy dreams. They were able to hear what was going on around them, but they were unable to wake up or interact or control their dreams or anything like that, okay? They also had no sense of time. And this is why. When you are in a coma and your spirit is in the astral realm, the silver cord is connected to your body. So your spirit, your soul can get back to your body. But the coma is a freeze spell. Hear me out. Hear me out. The coma is a freeze spell. Someone did some kind of witchcraft or ritual to cause an accident, a sickness, an injury, to put you, whoever, in a coma. Once in this coma, that's when the freeze spell is activated. So once you slip into a coma and your spirit, your soul, goes into the astral, the freeze spell is activated. The freeze spell is like putting a fucking chain around your spirit and your silver cord. So, like I was saying, you can always wake up from a coma as long as you're being fed and on some kind of support. Because your spirit, your soul can get back to your body, but there's a freeze spell blocking and keeping your soul in a state of confusion so that it doesn't know that it needs to go back to the body. Or this freeze spell binds the soul to the astral until the soul can figure out how to get back and free themselves from the spell and get back to their body, which is when someone wakes up from a coma, okay? I hope this is making sense to you. Okay, so when you are in a coma, your soul is still connected to your body. The silver cord is still connected to your body, but you are unable to re-enter your body. This is usually, like I said, because of a freeze spell. When the freeze spell is broken, the deception is broken, the soul, the spirit, can re-enter the body, and this person wakes up from their coma. Okay? Now, this is also, like I said, why a lot of people will wake up and say that they had crazy dreams. But yeah, they weren't dreams. They were literally traveling, stuck in the astral. They were going to other realities, other timelines, other dimensions. That's why they say it felt incredibly real, because it was real. Your soul was visiting other places, galaxies, dimensions, timelines, realities, etc. You were stuck out there. It had nothing else to do but go travel around and see what else was out there. But the freeze spell, there's no sense of time in the astral realm. Time only exists on Earth. There's no time in the astral. There's no time in space. There's no time. It doesn't exist. So because there's no time in the astral realm, that's why when patients wake up from their comas, they have no idea how long they were asleep. They have no idea how long they were gone. They don't know how long they were asleep. They don't have a sense of time, because in the astral realm, there is no time. They're trapped in the astral. There's no time. That's also why sometimes it takes forever for these people to wake up from these comas, these freeze spells, because there's no time. They have no idea how long they've been there. For them, it could feel like 5 minutes. It could feel like 5 years. There's no time. Okay? Now, I just said that. Sorry, go through my notes real quick because I said a lot of shit that I have written down already. Okay, so I got through all that. Okay, so yeah, a coma is essentially being trapped, stuck in a state of sleep so deep that your spirit, your soul, is not aware that you are asleep and is frozen, can't get back to your body, doesn't know it needs to go back to the body. It's unaware, okay? So while your soul is frozen in the astral realm, your soul, your spirit, has to realize that it has been frozen. It has to come to the awareness and fight its way back, or consciously, hear me out, consciously make its way back to break the spell and come back to its body. If the soul, the spirit, cannot break the freeze spell, the illusion spell that they are sleeping, then this spirit will never go back to its body, and this person will never wake up from the coma. And then that's when the hospital starts talking about, hey, maybe you should pull the plug. You should start thinking about pulling the plug. Hospitals harvest souls, okay? Hospitals work for the dark agenda. They work for the elites. That's why they get so much money for dead bodies and all kinds of, and body parts and all kinds of other shit, okay? They harvest souls. They harvest bodies. So of course, after, they're going to make it look like they give a fuck about your people or yourself, until it gets to that point where, look, hey, you're going to lose faith soon. We're going to give you just enough time to lose faith, and we're going to come in and tell you, maybe you should unplug that life support on your loved one, because this person's never going to wake. If they haven't woken up by now, they're never going to wake up. That's bullshit. They just want to harvest this person's body, soul, parts, all that shit, okay? As long as this person is not brain dead and is being fed and supported, they can wake up from this freeze spell, from this coma. They absolutely the fuck can. You know how I know? Because God told me they can. That's how I know. This is all from God. They can, okay? But like I said, the hospital has a specific job. They harvest. So they're going to try to sway you and persuade you to pull your loved one off of support and just let it go. They're never going to wake up, okay? But they also know that rich people will have the money to keep their loved one on life support. So they'll try this at first, and we'll just take your money, and you have money, and they'll keep this person on support long enough, as long as it takes, okay? For money. Everything's about money with the fucking system, okay? So this is exactly why comas are very unpredictable. There's no time in the astral realm. The soul has no idea that they've been gone 5 minutes, 5 months, 5 years, 15 years. They don't know. So this is why doctors will tell you we don't know when they're going to wake up. We have no idea when they're going to wake up. We don't know if they ever will wake up, because they don't know if this person ever will. It's up to the spirit. It's up to the soul to be aware enough to break the illusion spell and break the freeze spell and get back to the body, okay? Now, this is why lucid dreams, or being a lucid dreamer, 1911, this is why being a lucid dreamer is an advantage. When you learn how to lucid dream, that is a powerful tool for spiritual warfare, because entities, demons, witches, warlocks, practitioners, voodoo priestesses, and all that shit, they attack you while you sleep. They attack you spiritually through dreams also. So if you are a lucid dreamer, you are already very skilled at fighting spiritual warfare, because you can control your dreams. You can control what's going on in the astral because you're aware. So there's not much spells that these people can do that will harm you, because you are lucid. You are conscious of what's going on in these dreams, okay, while you're astral traveling. So if you are a lucid dreamer, guess what? If you were to slip into a coma, into a freeze spell sent by a voodoo practitioner or a warlock or a witch or a cult, whoever, if you were to slip into a coma because you are a lucid dreamer, you are already more conscious in your dream sleep state, more than someone who doesn't remember their dreams, doesn't have any control over their dreams. You, lucid dreamer, are possibly able to control what you do and where you go in the astral. Your spirit, your soul can still communicate with your body consciously, but the freeze spell is still there. So you can't immediately wake up. You can't move, you can't talk, you can't interact. But you are well aware that something is wrong. You are well aware that you are trapped in some kind of dream, some kind of sleep. You know you're asleep because you lucid dream and you're conscious. And this means you are more likely to awaken from your coma than someone who has no control over their dream state, okay? So this all depends on the soul, the spirit of the person, their third eye, their connection to God. All that shit makes a damn difference when it comes to comas. Comas are psychological spiritual attacks. Psychological spiritual attacks. They're not physical. That's why there's nothing you can do in the physical 3D realm to wake someone up from a coma. You can't shake them awake. You can't hit them awake. You can't yell their name until they wake up. Nothing in the physical realm can wake someone up from a coma because it is a spiritual attack. It is a spell. And spiritual attacks are psychological. That's why it puts you in a dream state, a sleep state. It's all psychological. It's spiritual warfare. Okay? So, yeah. So there's nothing physical about a coma, like I just said, except how it's brought about. The only thing physical about a coma is how it comes onto you. And that's still part of some kind of spell, some kind of black magic. It's not normal to go into a coma, okay? So spells, black magic, voodoo put people in comas. It causes accidents, sicknesses and diseases, etc. Those are all spell work, and those cause comas. Once you are in the coma, the freeze spell can be initiated. Once the freeze spell is initiated, or once you go into the sleep state pre-coma, the freeze spell is initiated. So now you're in a coma and you're stuck, and that's the freeze spell. So the only thing physical about a coma is the accident, sickness, event in the physical 3D realm that caused it to happen. But everything after the sleep state is initiated, the unconscious state is initiated, after that unconsciousness, the freeze spell is a coma, okay? So, because you can get knocked unconscious and wake up. A coma is basically being knocked unconscious and then not waking up 30, 20, you don't wake up. So it goes from being unconscious, when the freeze spell is initiated, it goes to coma, okay? So, yeah, everything after the onset of the coma is now spiritual. Because when you're unconscious, you can be awakened with 3D physical things. You can be awakened with smelling salts. You can be slapped until you wake up. There's things you can still do to someone who is unconscious in the 3D physical realm to wake them up. Once that freeze spell hits, though, that unconsciousness becomes comatose. When this person becomes comatose, there is nothing you can do anymore in the physical realm to awaken this person. It is now completely all up to this person's soul, this person's spirit, because now it is a spiritual battle. It is a psychological battle, a psychological attack, okay? And like I said, spiritual warfare is psychological warfare. So it's totally and completely up to this person's spirit, how tapped in they are with spirit, with God, how awakened they are, how open their third eye is. It's all up to that at that point. Their faith, all that, because their spirit, their soul has to break the spell to break the coma. The comatose is the spell. They have to, it's all up to your spirit. It's all up to your soul, whether you wake up or not from a coma. So, that is That's it. That is what a coma is. It's a freeze spell. Okay? Being knocked unconscious is normal because you can physically wake somebody up from being knocked unconscious. But a coma is a spell. And the purpose of the spell is to keep you stuck in the astral long enough that your family decides to give up because they think you're going to wake up on the 12th of never, and you get your plug pulled, and now you're done, you're gone, because that's what the voodoo, the black magic, whoever did it, sent it, that's what they wanted. They wanted you gone. They wanted you, okay? So they do these things, these spells, to make it look like an accident. Comas, heart attacks, suicide, car accidents. They love those kind of things because they look like accidents. They're spells, honey. They're spells. But I'm going to close it down and leave that one for another lesson, another Saturday school lesson. But yeah, that's your Saturday school lesson. Comas and astral. Have a beautiful day.